Well, here's our main event. While we're really here, Meltzer gives it 3 3/4 stars. I think it's better than that. I absolutely love this match. They're going to go 23 minutes and 22 seconds. This is the biggest match of JBL's career, main eventing a pay-per-view, and in a big way. JBL gets the win by DQ, believe it or not. So, yeah. Layfield comes out to a surprising lack of a reaction at first. This is directly from the Observer, but then cut a strong promo where he guaranteed victory. And this set up the big face pop for Guerrero, although it was noted by several that the actual ring entrance reaction was stronger for Cena. Would you agree with that? You watched it back. You were there live. Cena get a bigger pop than Eddie here in LA?
No, I think I'd say they were equal.
Lame.
Well, I did. Because I was waiting for that pop and listened to both of them because I was so shocked at the pop that John Cena got. I'd say they were equal. I would say it's just as good for Eddie.
These guys pull out all the stops. Guerrero's doing planches. They're doing fall away slams on the floor. They're doing backdrops on the Spanish announce table that doesn't break. And then Eddie tackles the referee, Brian Hebner. And then Layfield grabs a chair and hits Guerrero with what was described as a sick chair shot to the head. That's an understatement. You need to go watch it. Meltzer would say Guerrero bladed, and that's hardly the word. It was coming out of his forehead like a faucet, reminiscent of Vince McMahon in the Zach Gowen match, or maybe even worse. After what happened to Kurt Angle, you'd think they'd be leery of the kind of chair shot impact directly on the head. I mean, this is unbelievable, the amount of blood and gore that we're seeing here. And they're pulling out all the stops. There's a DQ called eventually. And this happens where Guerrero misses the frog splash, but Layfield brought in the belt while Hebner was distracted. And then Guerrero gets it and he uses it in front of Hebner. So there's the DQ, and the place is not happy. There's a big groan. And post match, we've got a ton of belt shots by Guerrero on Layfield, and he's going berserk, and blood is everywhere. Another chair shot, a frog splash. It's a big celebration for Eddie, but what a battle. I don't know that words can, we can't really describe this one. This is one you gotta see. Am I right?
It is. And it's the match that was the coming out party for John Layfield. This was the match that solidified his heel run and his first singles push to where we went, okay, finally, this big son of a bitch is going to do it. So for so many reasons, this match was memorable. It was a great match. It made John Layfield, and for the sheer brutality of it, it was scary. And I'm one of those old timers. I used to love the blood and guts and everything. But then as you get older, you kind of become immune to it. And watching this and seeing some of the kids' faces at ringside, watching Eddie bleed, it was very uncomfortable to watch. And it was too much, way too much, way too much. That part of it was an accident, and that is unfortunately some of the shit that happens from time to time. And I don't know that it created any more drama or that it enhanced the match nearly as much as I think they thought it did. It just kind of made it gory after a while, and you just wanted it to end for Eddie's sake.
Wade Keller would write, once Guerrero got backstage, he went into shock and was taken to the hospital. He got 16 stitches and 2 bags of IV fluids to rehydrate him and was released within a few hours. The deep gash was considered nothing more than human error. It was not scripted for him to bleed that heavily, and most within WWE believed that there was too much blood to the point that it took away from the drama, since rather than getting into Guerrero's comebacks, viewers were either rightfully queasy and grossed out or simply concerned for Guerrero's health. So you've told the story about being backstage, and I know you'll tell it again here now about your conversation with Eddie and going to the hospital and all that stuff, but when you're watching this match, are you at Gorilla? Are you sitting with Vince? What's Vince's reaction?
I remember vividly sitting at Gorilla, and there's even a point in the match, I think, when Charles Robinson goes down, that we had sent word with Charles, tell him to get out of there, go home, end it. And they didn't. They kept going. So I was at Gorilla. I was afraid for Eddie's health and just wanted to get him back and get him taken care of. So it was frustrating, and I had tunnel vision. I couldn't tell you who was with me, who was around me, anything like that. All I could tell you during the match was watching the match and cringing the more shit he did. So I kept waiting for him to just fall down and pass out.
Right. It's pretty crazy that, this is, do you think Guerrero, I know we're saying it's human error, but do you think he wanted a little more? And it's a big test for him. We've talked a lot about the pressures that were on him as champion and how seriously he took this. Do you think he wanted a little more, but just didn't realize how much more he was going to get here?
I don't know. His dad made his name Gory Guerrero for a reason. All of his matches were bloody and gory, but I don't think that I know for a fact that Eddie did not plan on that much blood. Maybe once it came, they thought, oh hell, this is great. This is great. This is going to add to the match drama of it all. I just didn't think it did. In hindsight, when you look at it, you go, man, it just left people worried instead of invested in wanting him to kick JBL's ass. You just wanted him to go get help, type of a thing. And that's a tough call, especially when guys are out there in the middle of a great match like that. And I do remember saying, end it. Let's go, get him out of there. Just go to the finish, because everything they did after that, you don't really remember until Eddie blows the big comeback after the match. So they could have gone home right then, and Eddie blown whatever comeback he could have blown and gone home and just got out of there. But that's all hindsight. That's 2020. It just was a scary, scary night, and seeing him back on the trainer's table and then putting the IVs in him to take him to the hospital. And the only reason we were doing that was because he had lost a lot of blood and the gash needed to be stitched up. It wasn't a super glue gash. It was one that needed stitches, and he needed to get checked out by a doctor. So if you take him in an ambulance, they'll take you in right away. If you go walk in, you're going to sit there and wait for a while. And that was the original mindset. Then when Eddie ripped all the IVs out and stormed out of the room, then it became the battle. Looking at him and just saying, Eddie, two things are going to happen here. You can either get cleaned up, go to the hospital in the ambulance, or we'll sit here and watch and wait, and you'll pass out from loss of blood and fatigue, and you'll still go to the hospital, but you'll probably stay longer. I'm sorry.
I know this is a silly question. Just bear with me for a minute. Do you think that Eddie felt like it was up to him to help get this match over? Because everybody heading into this, it was even written in the newsletters, that the perception was that a JBL Eddie Guerrero main event wasn't really the attraction that was resonating with fans, and it was quote unquote dead. Do you feel like that Eddie may not have gone to this great extent had he had a match here with, say, an Undertaker, a more established character, but now he's got, this big task, this unenviable task of, I'm supposed to be the top draw, and I've got it going against me that I've never been positioned as the top guy. I've only been champ for 2 months. I've got it going against me that I'm smaller in stature or whatever. And now I'm in here, even though fans maybe buy me as a top guy, I'm supposed to help get over a brand new guy. Not like, cement my footing as a main eventer against the Undertaker, a more established brand. But now I've got to get over this other guy that maybe fans aren't totally sold on yet. I need to do something special. I need to do something extra. And that's maybe we went too far as a result.
Maybe. I know that was Eddie's charge and that was Eddie's challenge. And Eddie really wanted to get John over, knew that he could get him over. So that was Eddie Guerrero's charge, was to make himself a new opponent, a believable opponent that he could draw money with. And they did. And that night is what did it. That was a prelude to the book. And we got a lot of nice chapters out of it.
Let's talk about, JBL, because he said if it had been anybody but Eddie Guerrero, you would have never heard of JBL. But because of Eddie, I had that incredible run and it was just the right time. I had the perfect foil and this incredible Latino star who was one of my best friends. And JBL has also said that Eddie was a groomsman at his wedding. I mean, what did this match mean to the JBL character and just Layfield's career in general?
Everything, because as I said, boy, that was a jumping off point, and Eddie could have laid down. Eddie could have not wanted to go out and have that kind of match, but he did. And he made John Layfield a believable opponent and somebody that was mean and nasty that you could hate, a heel that you could actually hate with a baby face that you truly cared about and loved. So it was so much of that is on Eddie Guerrero. And the other part of it is Layfield stepped up. Layfield stepped up to the plate, swung for the fences, and hit a home run with it.